All right. Hello, welcome everyone. We're going to wait while everyone comes into the room here today. Give it a little bit of time before we start. I guess while we're waiting, we can welcome to everyone. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. Thank you for joining us today for our C-Suite Sneak Peek webinar. It's a mouthful if you try to say it. My name is Holly Spitz. I'm a product manager at Foundant. Today, I'm joined by Sky Weber, who's also on our product team, and Colin Mullaney from our support team. We really look forward to this next hour. I think it's an hour, maybe it's 45 minutes, Sky. I'm not sure.
It's an hour.
The upcoming releases. Before we begin, you'll notice we're using Zoom as our technology platform. As always, if you have any questions during today's webinar, please open the box where you see the Q&A icon and type in questions there. We will not be using the raise your hand or chat features today. And then the purpose of today's webinar, do you want to hop to agenda? Is to review.
Oh, you know what? This is not, sorry, that was not
the right one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we don't have to show that. The purpose of today's webinar is to review upcoming enhancements, which are currently planned for release on May 3rd, so that first Wednesday of May. All of these enhancements have been released to your sandbox as of this past Monday. So if you have any feedback on them, please submit that to Idea Lab. There's already some items out there, so you can review them and vote on those as well. And we're just asking again, this was a lot easier last time to manage, but if you can hold all your questions on the enhancements until after Sky's presented the complete enhancement, then we can go through Q&A and Colin and I can work through that. And we'll just do it live or answer some maybe typed. So that would really help us out greatly and help us organize all the questions at one time. So with that, Sky, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, let me escape out of this one and stop sharing for just a second so I can switch my screens. For some reason, my wouldn't let me show on my normal screen. All right, so are you seeing my C-Suite now? Okay, perfect. Yes. All right, well, welcome. We have a lot to cover in this hour. Colin is also going to help me out. I'm going to bumble through. I know GLM integration stuff, so he's going to help me just in case, because I am not a GLM expert, but he did get me a site set up so I could start testing things and start working through that. So if I bumble it up, I apologize. I'm not the GLM expert, so he is going to help me with that. So we're going to just start talking through kind of all of the things that are releasing in May. Again, these are in your sandbox environments currently. So let's go ahead. Let me see if I can get in here to our different dashboards that we released. We have started with 4 different dashboards. So they're in the donors, donations, and then profiles and funds currently. So we will be rolling out some additional dashboards and some enhancements to the dashboards as far as filtering and things. So this is kind of just our first try at the dashboards here. So I'm going to jump into profiles. And then on the left-hand side, you'll see the dashboard. This is where you can see the different date ranges. Again, we're going to be adding some additional functionality to the dashboards, but this is just going to get us kicked off so I can click into last year, and it's going to show me some last year information as well for my profiles. I can also click up here into my donors quick menu across the top and see my donors dashboard. So you can see some of those donation trends with your donors. You can see the Livebunt and SciBunt for your donors for this year. I can look at last year's where I probably had a little bit more activity on my donation or my donors page here. So you can start to see some of that information in your top 10 households and things like that there.
Hey, Sky, what does Livebunt and SciBunt mean?
Last year, but unfortunately not this year, is your Livebunt, and then SciBunt is at some year, but not this year. Fortunately, I guess I should, but unfortunately not this year. So that's what that information is there. Let's see, and then in donations, so again, that's your donor one. me jump into this dashboard in donations. Well, here's my donation. I can see my top 10 funds and then donations by group. And then I can also click into funds here and I'll show you that one. So those are the 4 that we have released currently. So any other questions before I move on from dashboards?
So someone's saying they can't open, it's like grayed out, darkened. It must be a permission issue. And to me, it looks like they need the list view when I just saw you hover over that.
I believe that is correct.
Okay. So whenever you go into an object and you hover over that menu item at the bottom left of your screen, you should be able to see the URL, and it should tell you in that URL what permission you need. So that would be where I'd start to check that. And people are asking, so downloading the dashboards will be coming.
Yes.
I believe. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So this is just, remember, the basic dashboard functionality at this point. We are going to roll out dashboards in different object areas. So this is just the first 4. We're going to be adding filters. So there were some questions about filtering to a fund. So filters will be added.
And
that's
then
probably going to be after we get all the main dashboards built. And this next coming quarter, engineering wise, which is the current quarter we're in, we're going to be adding grants, grantees, scholarships, and students. Yes. And then somebody said, is the data based on what is in the GL? So really, it's based on whatever object you're in and the data related to those objects. So if it's donations, it's donation, not necessarily GL data. It's the donations entered as an example. Did we get them all, Colin? Again, filters, a lot of filtering, but filters are going to come in this.
Right. This is just kind of phase
all
1.
These dashboards. Yeah. And someone said there's a separate permission for dashboards in each area. So those need to be set.
Let me just click in.
Ideas, feedback on ideas. Someone also asked. So just go to Idea Lab, for instance, put new dashboard or donation dashboard, and then you can put some
and Joel's
ideas.
Correct. There is a dashboard permission.
So that's what you would need. So, and the years are based on your settings in your fiscal year. Correct?
Yes.
So whatever your fiscal year is, whatever the setting is in your site, that's what the years are in those dashboards.
Yep.
Okay.
So again, that was profiles, funds, donors, and donations are the only places we've released dashboards at this point.
Yes. And make sure you have in permissions access to dashboards.
Okay. I'm going to move on to our next is in account. So I'm going to use my quick menu across the top. And then on the left-hand menu, you're going to see close sub-accounts. Again, if you have permissions into this, this is going to the ability at year end, if you have GL sub-accounts that don't have any transactions or maybe have a $0 balance and they haven't had any GL transactions, you can go ahead and close those at year end. So if I go back here, I have, let me see, let me do my list all here and close one of these. Create F1 real fast. See where I was at. I'm just going to create an account here that we can close with that new. And so I'm going to put that in my administration because just so you guys can see this functionality. And then let me edit this and make it a sub. So again, this is just going to affect any account that is a sub account. And let me put it under my utilities here quickly. Okay, so we have this one in a total balance and it has no GL transactions. So at year end, I don't need this. I realize it's an account that I'm no longer using. Again, sub accounts. So I can click into this close sub accounts and then I can put my balance date. So I can say as of 12/31. And then that will close any of my sub accounts that don't have those GL transactions. So then I can come down here and you can see that that's automatically closed. So this is good for people that have maybe just migrated into C-Suite. Also, if you want to get rid of some of those sub accounts, this is a good option for you too. Okay. Any
Once
questions?
they're closed, can we open them back up?
Yep. So if I go back into accounts here, I'm going to use that quick menu across the top. And then if I use this list all, this is going, because this is defaulted to just my. So if I select list all here, I'll be able to see down here, this is the one I closed. I can click into it. And then on the left-hand side, I can open that account.
Is there an option to close sub-accounts one at a time?
You can go into individual accounts, yep, and just select close on the left-hand menu. So I can go into accounts. And then I could come into this one. And then I could just close this account here. Another thing we did just for, worked on some performance things last quarter. And so one of the things we did was in a couple of areas such as vouchers and grants and journal entries. I'm just going to show you in journal entries. I'm just going to create a journal entry. So I'm just going to jump here to account. And if I start to type in the number, it's just going to populate that smaller list. It's not going to give you the whole entire chart of accounts where it was populating the whole list and kind of causing some performance things. So that was one of the things that we have changed. So again, if you're typing this out, and we're going to start rolling that out in some different areas, but we did start with vouchers, grants, and then journal entries for this one. So even if I type in, let's see, I have gas in there. So it's going to pull up even if I type or do the numbers. So alphabetically or numeric. All right, something that is not released currently into your sandbox environments is going to be your grant date and decision date for GLM integration. So again, this is where because I'm learning the GLM side. So you're gonna, let me jump into my sandbox since this is in my sandbox environment only. So let me go in here to my, so you can see here, I jumped over to my sandbox environment. So I'm going to come into grants. In my GLM request bucket, you're going to see now I have this new set grant date. So in GLM, you'll be able to have a grant date filled. So this is what's going to impact your GL transaction. So this is when we want that GL expense to be allocated onto our GL. So I can go ahead and do all of these things in bulk if I wanted to, but I'm just going to go ahead and pull one of these over here. We'll just do individually. So you're going to still see the same information, but you are going to see grant date if you want to set that, if you haven't set that. So I can set my grantee. Do my mapping. So in the C-Suite side, we've added decision date where we did not have that before. It is now going to be in there. So the grant date and decision date will both be available in both systems now. And then I can set my fund here. Well, maybe. And then I could set my grant date. So maybe it came over with my original date over here. I could go ahead and set those. So I could set my grant date. Maybe I realized that this particular one is not going to pay until 5/1. I could change that here. Oops, I selected April 1st. So let me change that to March or May. And then set. On this one, you can look at it and it has a grant date and an imported date, but not a decision date. So we can also set those decision dates now within C-Suite. Just looking to see if this one got. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create my grant here. And then I could edit and make my decision date. So maybe that didn't come over from GLM. I could set a decision date. So maybe actually my grant committee was together on April 19th and they were able to make this decision that we were going to approve this one. So I could go ahead and do that decision date. If I'm in here and at this point I am in my new bucket, I could also edit my grant date here. So if I said, oh, this really isn't happening on May 1st, we changed our mind, it's going to happen on May 15th or May 5th. I can change this. This isn't going to change anything on the GLM side until we post this grant in C-Suite. So that's when we'll have that GLM be able to see that back. Also here on your GLM request, it will keep that original information. So you can see that it came in with just the grant date and no decision date. So all of that is going to stay here. I could also do a full resync. And then this would allow the dates to update from my new bucket. If I needed those to go ahead and update, I could do a full resync on this grant and it would go ahead and update within the GLM system. So on the C-Suite side, so whenever you're doing new grants, once they post and you're needing to sync them back even from C-Suite to GLM, so post-approval, those will also update your grant and decision dates from when we post them in C-Suite. So any questions there? Do I need to post them? We good?
Nope, there's some questions. A lot of it is about your process and procedures, but the decision date field is a new field.
Yes.
It can be, it's really a data point only. It can be set in either system. Is that correct? I think. Yes, you're still saying that. Okay.
Yep, the grant date or decision date.
It's available in SLM as well. So someone was asking, is the decision date the student's decision? Again, it's a process.
That would be how, how the
yeah.
foundation is going to handle that.
Yeah, the intent, I mean, I think the intent on the grant side and the request originally that drove this enhancement was more of that, like, oh, your, competitive grants have been decided or awarded, or your board approved it on this decision date, but maybe you don't want to put it in your books or award it to a certain date. So that grant date is what's driving the GL posting and the accounting side of it.
And once it's posted, you cannot change the grant date on the GLM side. So once it's locked down, you would have to unpost, edit that grant, and then repost it, which would resync back into GLM.
Yes. So somebody had asked, could the grant if for SLM, the grant date will be the previous award date? No, the grant date is the date you want it posting in the current year to your GL.
Yeah, it has to be in an open period on the C-Suite side.
Yep. And it cannot be changed. So we answered that one. And if it's posted, it can't be changed unless it is unposted.
Right.
Somebody else asked, wouldn't this all be done in GLM? It's possible, but it's also possible depending on your procedures. So some of these dates are set only in GLM. Some people set them in C-Suite. So really it's up to each foundation to decide, who owns setting those dates. Colin is answering what's the difference between a resync and a full resync.
Okay, great. Do you want to answer that live, Colin, so everyone will know?
Sure. The resync is just a simple reconnection attempt. The full resync, it'll even give you a warning. It's going to take the information from C-Suite and overwrite what is in GLM or SLM if you do that. So if you ever get that spot, you want to try resync first, see if that gets everything corrected. If that didn't work, then you may move on to the full resync before you possibly overwrite things you didn't want to overwrite.
Yeah, so on this allied one, I can put in a decision date, and so it's not anywhere in my GLM site, so I can update that. Again, the decision date isn't impacting our GL. If it needs to be modified at any point, it could be. So if I click in here, jump over. All right, so I would be able to see this decision date was 4/1. If I over here, Let me do this full, oops, let me edit that because
Yeah, no, Sky, your audio is continuing to cut out a
I
little
know,
bit.
yeah, I may need to switch off my headset. So I'm going to make this 4-3. Okay, so let me click back into my ID here. So this gives me all my grant. So this is where I could do that full resync here. And then it's going to tell me you're going to override everything that's in GLM. And if I say yes, I can come over here now and update. Oops, I think I'm having trouble with my internet here. I feel like my system is glitching.
So while you're
Sorry.
doing this, the current decision date in SLM is the award date in C-suite. Right now, with this new enhancement, once it's rolled out in May, the decision date, there's going to be a new grant date field in SLM and GLM. Or I should say a new decision date. The award date is going to become the grant date. So hopefully it doesn't confuse anybody. You will still have a grant date is when the grant is awarded, when the money is encumbered and comes out of the fund. The decision date in both systems, just a data point that you can use as a different date if you need it.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for just a second, and then I'm going to let Colin share for the denied grants.
Make sure I choose the right screen. All right. Can we see my screen? All right, so I'm going to create a quick request. This is a very simple version of this, but I can deny. And then deny fully, but I can still send this to C-Suite if I want a record in CommunitySuite that this happened. So I've got my organization in CommunitySuite, visiting the grant bucket. I have that request. I can visit it, set the grantee. Set a fund. I can type. I can create this grant. It's really going to be a pretty empty shell of a grant, with the amount being 0, but it does exist in CommunitySuite. So you can send denied items from GLM to CommunitySuite. Is that all you wanted me to show? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're good. And then you can also deny the grant in C-Suite, and then you can send it over. It would be pre-approval because it's going to be coming from your new bucket, and then your status would be in the denied. So let me share my screen. So if I create a grant here, Again, grant date is going to be your posting date, but since this is going to be denied, it's not going to matter. Give me a reporting area. And then I can edit my GLM options here. And then I can do my pre-approval, and then we'll want to make this denied here. And then I can save that. And then I can deny this grant here. And this is all happening in our new bucket in C-Suite. And then I can just send it over to GLM, and I can have that documentation over there as well in the GLM side. So if I need to do any reporting on that, I can do that from there. So then it would be synced right over to GLM.
Do they have the ability to report on denied grants?
In C-Suite, yep, it's a custom report. So you can just go into grants and then pull that status as denied. Yep. That's the only place they live.
Okay. I was going to say, somebody asked if fund advisors will see denied grants in the portal.
No.
And are denied grants can be available for SLM?
They're not currently. So that may be future work.
Okay. And somebody had mentioned dates might be different between GLM and SLM, and that's possibility. It's also possible that dates are different between foundations as well. So you're just going to have 2 dates now. You're going to have an award date and a grant date. And that grant date's what's going to be important for posting from an accounting side. And what's the benefit of having denied grants? We've been asked to have it a lot. A lot of people wanted to track it. Is it necessary? It's really up to you. You do not have to use this feature at all. The release, Michelle, the denied decision dates and denied grants are not in the, are denied grants in the sandbox environment?
No.
Okay, so both are not, because of that integration with SLM and GLM. They don't have that option to release to the sandbox like C-Suite does right now. So we did not, that's why those are not in there. And it says, can you show how this displays at the fund level if you're reporting on grants? I think that means denied grants.
Okay.
I'm assuming.
Let's see if my grant report. Not sure if the denied ones pull up on there. I think it's just the paid complete. Yeah. So the denied don't show on the grant, on the fund level.
Yeah.
So again, the only place you're going to see those is in custom reports. So you'll have to create the custom report for denied grant status.
And it says, can you reopen denied grants in GLM and sync them to C-Suite to have them show in both?
That I don't know that.
I know. I think that would be a good, we'll have our success team follow up too with some of these questions after it releases between the two. We'll probably do a webinar. We'll ask them to see what they can get done with that. Can we move older denied grants in GLM to C-Suite? Again, I think we'll have to do some follow up on that one and how to do that. Again, we are going back to the award date in SLM that goes to C-Suite. Maybe these terms are interchangeable in GLM. We will make sure our release notes definitely document the difference between, so we'll follow up with that, Ilsa, in the release notes on these dates so that it's definitely not confusing. And we'll have videos to show the difference between the two when we release this. If using C-Suite for scholarships is the award date, the data point, and the payment date, the GL date. Again, I think let's do video. We'll make sure we do videos and clearly explain the differences in the dates. We're really just adding an award date field that's the only difference. The current dates are not going to change. Nothing should change in your process other than a new date that's supposed to give more flexibility in having multiple dates in GLM and SLM. So it should not change anything on the accounting and the C-suite side.
Yes, correct. Okay, I'm going to move on to profiles. So some new things. Profiles is, if you notice, if you're creating a profile, it's going to let you choose your individual household organization right off the bat. So, and then all of the fields will be available. So I'm just going to pop into the individual. So now all address, phone numbers, emails, all of those fields are now available when you're creating a profile. You jump back into profiles here. So let's do a couple of just little search things. So I'm going to look here. You're going to see here in the search bar, you're going to be able to see that if my profile is deceased or inactive, that's going to show up in red. We are going to add that to the global search as well. So that is coming. Just couldn't get all of the work done at the same time. So we're just trying to get everything kind of ticked off of our list from our Idea Lab. So again, all profile things came from Idea Lab. So just the main voting that we really wanted to try to implement was that static bar across the top. So we were able to do that. You're going to be able to see if the profile is inactive, deceased, or anonymous right here at the top of that profile header box. Once you mark it inactive and deceased, you're also going to see that it does mark it do not mail, do not email, or do not call. It will also trigger the grantee and the vendor to also become inactive. So you'll be able to see that those, so if you accidentally mark them inactive, you will have to go back and make their grantee or their vendor profiles active again. If I click back into this profile ID, it's going to take me back to the main landing page on a profile. So I'm going to open this little donations here just so you can see that we also did some of that inactive work so that if I try to pull up Sarah Black, she's not going to pull up because she's inactive or deceased. So that information is not going to pull anymore for vendors, grantees, or your donations. So that should really help when once those profiles are inactive. We also added to add those in bulk in the names area, so you can update those through that area as well. So I'm going to go back to search here, and then let's look at my profile.
Are reporting and like campaign lists, are they going to include inactive and deceased?
Yeah, so those will also not allow you to add them to that. Okay, so here on my profile is kind of what a little bit more of a built out profile. I'm going to have.
I know your headset's getting worse.
I'm sorry. Let me switch my audio here. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so here on my main profile, I'll be able to see individuals will have a single kind of icon up here, and then households will have the double, and then the organizations would have like a little building kind of icon here. So that will tell you immediately what type of profile you're in. You're also going to see the name of the profile up here. And then we've added these pronoun fields as well here across the top. So that way, if you're on the phone with somebody, you'll be able to easily identify that if you want to use the pronouns. I will also be able to see what household this particular profile is part of. I can see the fund steward and then also the last donation date. Again, this was just based on some feedback that we got back from our clients, had a small beta testing group. And so just some of that information that we got back. If I have my or maybe my mail as do not mail, that will show up in red here. And then if I also had the do not call or do not email here on the left, that would also add those as in red, and I could clear that do not mail from that left-hand menu option here. And we did get some feedback that there's a comma after this, and so we are fixing that. Just want to point that out. We do know about that, and we will be fixing that before the May release. We also listed all of the designations, and we'll show you if I didn't happen to be all of these designations, the little make symbol is also going to be here.
Also, based on a lot of feedback, a lot of clients wanted to be able to see the relationships, like so the opportunities, and then all of their funds, profile types, profile links, their philanthropic interest types, all right here on this main page when they were on the phone with the client. And then clicking over to the details tab, which would give you the address information since the primary was listed at the top. I know that's probably not going to work for everybody. We do kind of have a phase 2 rolling out. So there'll be more to come on that, to maybe where there's more of an option of what you can choose to display first off. So again, this is kind of phase 1 of getting all of the profile changes and the left-hand menu changing just like it does in campaigns as you're in these different areas. So on our engagement tab, you'll see your active campaigns. Another kind of request was that the campaigns list was getting really long. And so this would be a report to show all of your campaigns. So I could click into this and see any inactive campaigns also listed here on the left-hand side. Back into engagements here. And then you would see any memorial notifications, grantee contacts, or this is where our similar emerging profiles is now going to live, is here on this engagement tab. And then again, your details will house any of your tasks or your custom fields here, and then files and notes here. I am going to jump over to my household just so you can see the difference here. So this is going to have the double kind of icon here. This is where you could see if I needed to make them a grantee or a student here, this is where that make would come into play. And then again, the same tab are falling here under the household. And then I could show a organization here quick. Just do that Allied Arts, since we've been kind of working with them a little bit. So this is where you would see the Allied Arts here, the primary contact, again, the last donation date, and then those primary information here. And then within the details tab, I forgot to point out, you'll be able to see the pronouns are here, and you can, there's in the release notes, you'll see the list of the different pronouns you can use. So if I wanted this to be she, her, and they, I could just add those different pronouns in here. So, all right. Do I need to pause, Holly?
Probably. Okay. Okay. So going back quickly to the deceased and inactive, when we set that, does it cause the do not email, do not to go to all of the different?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Does
Yeah.
to every address, everything becomes inactive.
Yep. So do you want me to demo that really fast? I could.
Sure.
Let me take old Stacy Black out of the system here. We can make her inactive as well. So I'll go ahead and make her inactive and then save it. And now you'll see that it does the do not mail, do not email, and do not call.
Perfect. All right. So a lot of people are asking about like the tabbing and the different menu items. And we realize that not everyone's going to be happy with the way the tabs are ordered left to right. Guy had mentioned, I don't know if everyone heard this, but we are going to have a second rollout, like a second phase of this, where we're going to add something that might be titled At a Glance, and you can pick which cards you might want, and that would be your own left side tab. So everything that you work with. So hopefully that's going to eliminate the need to keep changing tabs around. And we try to align the left menu items just as they made sense with where you were, what tab you were in. So again, if you have feedback, if you see something's missing, there's already some things and suggestions in Idea Lab, please vote on those or add some other comments. We know we have a few little things to tweak here before it rolls out in live. So we're trying to get everything addressed before we do that. A lot of this, I'm just going to say we're going to, take under advisement. I was going to see if anything else is in here. I think a lot of it's just feedback on how it looks. So,
okay.
All right, we'll work through it. Colin, do you see anything else in the questions that we should answer live?
Another thing I wanted to point out is we did this in campaigns. We're doing this in profiles. The next thing we're going to be doing this quarter will be the funds area. So you'll also see this change in funds, just to kind of give you a heads up. You'll also see here at the top, if I have tabs open, you'll see that it's under my profile and it will say Mrs. Sky Weber here. And then if I go to my donor, it's going to also then say donor up here at the top. So you'll know which profile designation you're in as well. And then also if I have another tab open, so let's say I just clicked on this, and then it's going to show me up here that this is my household profile. So again, you'll be able to start to see this tab renaming. You're also going to see it. Some of it has already rolled out. Now, if I'm going to open my funds tab over here. So this released this morning. So I haven't even got my release note out, but I just want people to know about this. You're going to see it in lots of different places. So if I go into the funds now, it's under donations, it's under grants. You'll be able to see what grant you're in here at the top. So again, the tabs are going to be renaming, and you'll see that immediately in some of these areas. The profiles will not roll out until May 3rd, but some of these other areas did get changed this morning.
All right, we have a couple other questions. If the profile's inactive and would it show up in a create new profile so you can just reactivate it? If you do
In
a
the search, you
search.
mean?
It shows up as inactive, right? Or
Yep. So yep, if I'm searching, I could say, you know, so I just inactivated Sarah or Stacy Black. Having such a lag on my computer.
yeah, there you
So
go.
if I click into Stacy, then I could always then edit and then make her not inactive anymore. Or make her active, I guess I should say. But then I would need to clear off that do not mail, do not call.
Yeah.
With these.
Perfect. Someone was asking about when profiles are created with attribute functionality and they have the and, is it still going to create an organizational profile? Currently, yes, we are looking at that and going to be updating that this quarter as well. Some of that, we know attributes needs a little love there. And talking about the deceased profiles again, attributes no longer make profiles. There is one place where they do, though. We'll come back to that. Or Colin, you can enlighten us on that. But when we
jump over to custom reports, because there were a lot of custom reports as well. If that's okay, we kind of have profiles, deceased and inactive. So deceased is if your donor has it, you know, is dead, then that's a deceased profile. Again, it's as soon as you mark it deceased, it is going to mark it inactive. So both of those trigger. If you mark it deceased, it will mark it inactive, but just marking it inactive does not make somebody deceased. So just want to clarify that. So the inactive will not allow you to create payments to that person, receive donations from that person, won't allow you to pull them into a campaign. So a lot of that inactive stuff that was out there on Idea Lab, we did try to encompass all of those ideas. Okay. Anything else, Holly?
No, there's a lot of things about just asking for different changes. A lot of things have already been added to Idea Lab. So I encourage you to go look at those, like the new ideas, vote on them if you agree, or add your idea, and we can work through some of those.
Yeah. And then I saw on there with the at a glance, that would be your default. And again, it would be looking at those different tables within those different tabs, and then you could choose which ones you wanted to display on there. But it would be cross-wide for your foundation. So, okay, I'm going to move into custom reporting. So the custom reports, the default reports have been moved over to the left, and they've also become custom reports. So if I come into a default report, I have had some feedback that as you come in here, some of those hyperlinks are gone now in the totals that some of maybe their donor engagement people were using. So we are looking at that. Also the filters in your filtered reports, we're also looking at getting those moved over to where they would be in your custom report area as well. So have gotten that feedback, and we are working on that again. So looking for that to be fixed before it's released in May. All right, so here's your custom report. So if I go into this, it's going to default down into this filter, the fund group by name, and still going to have those affiliates. I could still add filters, and then I could also save this default report. So maybe this is my donation report, and I could save this one as Sky Fund Group donation report. And then I could build off of that particular default report and add different columns if I wanted to. I can also put it into the object that it is, or I can create my own set of Skies reports. I can also still decide to share it. And I now have this new description field. So this is for my fund group donations. And if I added a filter for a date range of donations, I would want to add that probably in my description or in my title. So if I come back out here to my custom reports, I'll be able to come down here into the Skies, and I can see here's my Skies Fund Group donation report. I can add a category here. So maybe I wanted to create one for Colin. Maybe he's going to create some reports for me. Oops, if I could spell reports. And then I could create that custom report category here. So again, if you want to take those defaults and make them in your own little area, you can do that. And again, start to add some different columns to it if you wanted to. So now I have this, and so Colin doesn't have anything in his report area. So I can come back out here to my list reports. And I now have this bulk update. So this is going to give you the ability to say, oh, I really don't want these to be listed under the admin fees. This is really going to be Colin's report. And I could also add a description in here from this bulk here. Ooh. I can also decide if I want to share from here. So again, I could reset all of these object areas. All right. Another thing, if I come into one of my reports here, I could come in here and I can now do a save as. So I can save this one as, maybe I filtered it down and it's just a report for Colin. I could put his name on it. Oh my goodness. I could just, and then I could change this and put this into his reports again. And then save that description. And then when I come back out to my custom report, then I'm going to start to see his grouping being built out here for it. All right. So questions on custom reporting?
Okay, let me go. We're still getting a lot on
The profiles.
The profiles. So let me go down.
We need to
Oh
go
my
back to
goodness.
profiles.
I don't know. There's so many now that let me keep scrolling down. There's a
Okay.
lot of questions about active and deceased, and somebody said there's a lot of releases in May, and there is an amazing amount. Oh my goodness. At the very end, there's just one. Custom fields, when will those be added to filters and custom reports?
This quarter, we're working on a bunch of different filters, adding them to the custom report areas and the Boolean fields. I'm working on getting those filters. So you'll see a lot of the kind of cleanup and custom reporting under the filters being done this quarter.
Okay. And if somebody is asking, I used to be able to search by the person that made the report, and now it looks like we can only search on the name of the report.
Right. This is going to pull up like anything that has my name in it here. But you can always still like control F, I guess, if you wanted to, and do the search by sky if you wanted to. But yeah, it's pulling by the report name now.
Okay, and then there's another one. The Idea Lab had an idea called custom report all fields. I'm confused how this idea was closed when I still can't get current fields in one report.
I probably need to see what report and what fields were missing, because the kind of the create report now. So I could choose, you know, let me see, let's say a check report. And then when I select edit here, I can select all of the fields here at the top. And it should bring in all of the fields that are available. So I guess I would need, maybe if you want to email me so I could see what report you're looking at.
Okay. And someone's asking about who has permission to delete custom reports saved by any user, especially asking for deletion of inactive user saved reports. So yeah, you want to show that?
Yeah. So this custom report delete here.
Yeah. So if you have the rights to do that, then you can delete a user's custom reports. Otherwise, the user that created it can do that.
Yeah.
Would love to see information in the column selected on the same page as creating the report. I'm not sure what that means. And
so we did change the columns. So once you go, let me go back into that report as you're creating it. We come back into this report here. So if I go back in, here's the columns, and I could reorganize them here if I wanted to. It's still the same drag and drop. But if I select edit here and added some additional columns, it was really a performance issue that it would reload the report and reload the report and reload the report every time you selected a new column. And that's why we switched to this different layout to let you select your columns and even select your column order here. So if I wanted to show that these were also historical, I could put that on here. But that's the reason why the change for these column orders, and we're not doing that other way.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to?
Some of the fields may just not be available in the type of report that it is. So that's why I'm just not sure on the all fields, like it may not be a field that's available on a grant report.
Correct.
Like donations or something on a grant report. So I'm not sure if that's what they mean on the all fields.
All right. Is that the end of our releases?
Yes.
Do you want to walk through in our time remaining some of these, as many of these profile questions as we can?
Yes.
Okay. Can we bulk update pronouns on these profiles?
Let me look. Let me see if
I
that was
believe
added
it was added.
to the names bulk update, but let me just check that, Laurel.
Okay.
No, but that maybe, let's put that in Idea Lab, because I don't see that on the names
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
I just see the
So-
deceased. We added deceased on, or the importability for the inactive and the deceased to trigger that. So we fixed that.
Okay. So we'll need to add pronouns
Yeah.
to the import. So that's not available now.
Right.
Marking, it says, well, marking an individual deceased, add the do not call, etc. to the household as well.
Sorry, I'm just writing this pronouns on.
Okay.
Report, sorry. And what was the question?
When you mark an individual deceased, what happens to the household? Does the household get added to do not call?
let me, I don't think Sarah is part of a household. Let me see. I don't think she's part of a household. So let me put in just child.
If someone is marked deceased too while you're doing this, and say it's an estate distribution comes in, you can still add a donation to a deceased profile, correct?
Well, then it would be
have to-
marked inactive, and so it wouldn't be pulling up.
Okay. So you'd have to inactivate it, add it, and then make it inactive again.
Yeah, I'm gonna add Finest here, make him deceased. Oh, I thought he was part of this. Let me see if I have. Better make myself. Okay, and I am part of a household. Let's see what it does to my household record. I didn't think it would make it inactive, but I'll just double check that. Yeah, it still leaves the household.
Okay.
It does show here, like in the individual.
That one member is deceased. And then another person is saying that sometimes a deceased donor is not necessarily inactive until all promises and estate gifts are applied. So again, it does automatically, it will make it inactive. You'll have to inactivate it, apply the donation, and then re-inactivate it.
Yeah.
Maybe that is something we should address too in the future here.
Okay.
But thank you for that feedback. When you're searching, do we still need to search for Mr. and Mrs.? I am the one that said today that was fixed, but maybe it's not fixed.
In the global search?
Yes. Well, I think it's in the global search. Yeah.
Yeah. In the global search, it does not show the Mrs. I mean, it does here in the brackets, but not like.
So you no longer have to include it.
No.
I didn't think so.
I don't know if that's the global search. Do you know colon on the other, just the regular profile search? Because mine has the Mrs. in there and like in my regular title, oops. And I don't, like when I search, I just search Sky when I do my profile. So I think that's, so either place now I think is not taking into account the Mrs.
All right, we have another minute or so. Deceased profiles, they should show in the global search too, right? I believe I just saw that.
The deceased, yeah, it's just not in red, but we're fixing that. So we're going to make that look like the profile area. So here's the deceased. It's just not in red like it is in the profile area.
Okay. Is there any indication anywhere of that parent-child relationship?
Do what? I'm sorry.
The parent-child relationship, is that in engagement now? Where do we see those? No, it's in
For organizations.
Let
me go back into, I think that's on relationships, but
okay. This training will be sent out to everybody. It's always available in about 24 hours in that 9-dot icon to the right of the release note, the right of the present up in that top bar. That was a question. And for those of you that we have not answered this, we will look at anything that's a suggestion. Please go to Idea Lab, add it, vote on it. There's a lot of ideas out there already. We appreciate the positive feedback. We're trying to get our screen, more information on every screen. So we're trying to go from that horizontal or vertical look to more of a horizontal. So we're not intending to make more times and clicks, but we're getting some of that feedback too as well. So we appreciate everyone's feedback. We truly do. And continue using Idea Lab. And look for more trainings to come out in custom reporting and maybe some other areas as we identify what we need. Colin, do you see anything else we need to address here before we log off? No. Okay. Thanks all. Have a great day.
Oh, the survey.
Oh, yes. Sorry. You're going to be getting a survey in email sometime later today. We'd love to have you participate. Hopefully everyone didn't. Hold on, let me grab this. We're considering a new enhancement and there's some survey data. Oh my goodness. Hold on. I meant to copy and paste this earlier. I'm going to put this in chat and we'll hang out here for a minute while I do this.
I think Coral got it in there for us.
Oh, you did. Thanks, Coral. So please click on that if you have a minute. It's about individually managed funds. So if your foundation offers those to your donors, please consider, looking at that survey and giving us some feedback on that. So thank you all. Have a great day. Bye.